The last 10 years, you heard the former chairman of the Intelligence Committee saying that there has been a conspiracy over 10 years. What have you done about it?
Well, look, that's exactly what we're investigating right now. And by the way, what is not in dispute is that the whole Russia hoax, there was absolutely nothing to it. And so the question that the American people have to ask is, well, then why did they do it? Why did Comey say what he said? Why did the outgoing Obama administration do what they did? And that's what we're studying right now, because it did great damage to this country. It did great damage to President Trump's first term. And we want to understand why that happened, why there continued to be an effort by operatives in the government to go after President Trump while he was in office, and then, of course, over the past several years as well.
Do you believe it was a conspiracy against President Trump?
I mean, that's what we're looking at. And do you believe it? I mean, look at what happened. I mean, here there's no evidence of any Russia collusion at all. And yet there was a special counsel appointed, 2 years, the president's family, his entire administration was investigated. There was zero evidence of any Russia collusion. Right. That cannot happen. And so it should never happen in this country. And so we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Oh, I understand that. And we all know, this audience is well aware of it. We were among the first to say this doesn't smell right, this doesn't look right, we don't think it's true. I had Devin Nunes on and John Ratcliffe on virtually every week back in 2017 and 2018 saying just that, all of their findings. I'd like to know why it's taking so long. I mean, has the statute of limitations run up? Do you have no more wiggle room in terms of zeroing in on things like the Mueller report, the Nunes report, and all the evidence that was clear that they knew that there was no Russia collusion?
Look, I don't know that the statute has run out. I don't think so. Because what you saw a continued effort all the way up until very recently, up until the raid of Mar-a-Lago just a couple of years ago, a continued effort to destroy President Trump. And whether that's one conspiracy that continued from 2015, 2016, all the way up to 2023 is what we're looking at right now. But the way that we do that is with the grand jury process. So it's calling witnesses, it's looking at documents, it's having prosecutors study, it's having the FBI look at it and investigate what happened. And we're finding out some incredibly troubling things, and at some point at the right time that will be made public, and the American people will see exactly what happened to this administration and President Trump over the past decade.
Well, I mean, the country was ripped apart. We all know that. Half of the country said he colluded with Russia. The other half said, no, it didn't. I mean, it ripped the country apart. But you say when the time is right. When is the time right? When should we expect these charges of conspiracy?
Well, I mean, look, as has been publicly reported, the Southern District of Florida has an open criminal investigation. That involves hundreds of subpoenas. It involves hundreds of witnesses. And so as far as timing and when we can expect it, we are working hard and we are working efficiently, but we are going to do it right. We are not going to rush something that isn't ready. We're not going to reach a conclusion before our investigation is over. But I assure you, and I assure the American people, that we are completely focused on it.
Okay. Well, I don't know what is not ready. I mean, we've been watching this play out for a long time, and viewers and people watching are frustrated because it just keeps happening. Weaponization keeps happening because it's not corrected the time before. Now, there are charges against Comey right now, threatening the president, transmitting a threat across state lines because of that Instagram post 8647. Is that real, or is that a placeholder, or what exactly is the charge? Because he's saying this has no merit.
Well, I mean, he's entitled to say whatever he wants. What the facts show is that a grand jury, this isn't a D.C. grand jury. This isn't Todd Blanche, former President Trump personal attorney, bringing charges. These are line prosecutors, career prosecutors in North Carolina who investigated what happened, investigated this case for nearly a year, and a grand jury returned an indictment. There is nothing more serious in this country, as we've seen repeatedly over the past several years, than threatening President Trump. He has been, on multiple occasions, 3 occasions at least, someone has tried to kill him, okay? So we have to take these threats seriously, and obviously Comey's entitled to his day in court. He is a defendant. He's charged in an indictment out of North Carolina, and those charges are very serious.
Well, obviously, when you see someone like Jim Comey, who was the head of the FBI, write out 8647 on the street, I mean, on the beach, rather, someone who might be mentally challenged is going to use that and say, well, let me go do what Comey just told me to do. But I've got to move on, because recently Susie Wiles, the president's chief of staff, made an interesting comment that a lot of our audience was perked up about. And here's what she said. Watch this.
We had a lovely dinner, and at the end of it, he wanted to know why he won Florida, but maybe struggled in some other states that I think we're going to find out he actually did win. But I wrote like an after-action report, gave it to him to read.
So she just said that we're going to find out that President Trump actually did win certain states in the 2020 election. Now, the president says all the time that the election was rigged. What have you done about that? Do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? What can you tell us?
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years. What I can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. They're very good at hiding up misconduct and hiding what they're doing. And so that's why we're very focused on finding out whether the right people voted, whether people who were supposed to vote voted, whether there was one vote cast per voter. And that's what we're doing in multiple states. And I expect, and again, people, you'll say to me, how long is it taking? Why is it taking so long? And the reality, the answer to that is because it takes a lot of work to uncover what happened in 2020. It takes a lot of old, good old-fashioned law enforcement police work, which is what we're doing, and we have great prosecutors working on it as well. And I expect that, and I assure you, I assure the American people that as soon as we have something to say for it, whether it's charges, whether it's a report, whether it's the results of an investigation, the American people will learn about what we've uncovered.
Yeah, so in other words, what you're saying is that you have, in fact, seen evidence that people voted who should not have voted, whether it be through mail-in ballots, ballots coming from empty parking lots or dead people, whatever, or from illegals. Is that what you're suggesting?
Maria, during the Biden administration, they didn't charge a single individual with illegally voting. Just last year, we charged dozens, and we're investigating a ton more. And so that's exactly what I'm saying. We know that there were people who voted who were not eligible to vote. We've charged some of them. We've charged some of them in the past year. We're investigating a ton more right now. And so that's the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing. Okay. But yes, I can flat out say, because of that yes, that happened.
All right, so you believe there will be, at some point, a definitive answer to whether or not the 2020 election was stolen?
I'm not going to promise there's going to be a definitive answer. That wouldn't be fair to you or anybody else, but we are looking at it and we're hoping to get one.